you know, but I'll fuck you, so get out my face before I touch you, hoe, don't you know? Can't you understand? If you fuck with me, I'll take your man.
Hey everybody, it's me, it's your girl Buffy. I'm just doing a little video about your favorite power, nature. With nature, all you have to do is basically just figure out what type of healer you want to be. Do you want to be a healer that's going to spam supercharge for the group? Are you going to be a healer that just basically OP burst, or you want to be heals over time, basically? Just going to show you a quick little loadout or whatever, and then I'm going to show you some gameplay, and then I'm going to show you a demonstration of how each interaction of the powers work. So the loadout that I chose was, let's go to my stats first. So right now, my restoration is at 28,009. That's pretty low. The artifacts that I chose is basically Gemini, Orbital Ryan, and the Scrap. A lot of people, you're probably wondering, like, why the hell you use that if you're not using no supercharge with nature? Nature doesn't need a supercharge. I'm here to tell you that that is not correct. You can actually use supercharge because you're going to actually feed it to the group. So first things first, let's start with that supercharge spam. So right now you can do insectoid form. If you look at the cooldown, it says 12 seconds, right? Supercharge costs only 2,500. So with that being said, if you go to insect form, basically wherever you put your supercharge, make sure you put the return to normal. And the reason why is because you're going to be able to clip it. Let me try to get my supercharge up a little bit. So basically, when I say you're going to clip it, you're going to be able to clip it as far as turn it into the bug and then turn it right back into normal form. If you play DC, I'm pretty sure clipping is not new. You already know what clipping means. But for you guys that don't, I'm going to show you. Sorry, it's taking a little time to get my supercharge. Alright, so now I have a supercharge. Basically, this is what I was talking about, choosing what type of healer that you want to be. If you're going to be the healer that basically feeds the supercharge to a group, like example, if you got another healer that has shield, since you already know nature does not have a 8-man player shield. So I'm going to be that support role that's going to feed the supercharges to the DPS, the troll, and the healer that has the 10,000 cost power supercharge. So as you see, when you do this bug form though, let me show y'all something so you won't be like, why is it not working? When you pop it, you have to be in combat for it to be able to activate. If you're not in combat, it won't work at all. So you have to be in combat, number one. So number two, let me get out of combat so I can show you exactly what I'm talking about. Come on, get out of combat, Buffy. Okay, so I'm out of combat. Now watch. See, it doesn't activate. So you guys, make sure that you're in combat when you before you pop your supercharge, so you won't waste the supercharge. So I'm gonna build my supercharge up, and then I'm going to do the clip, so then you can feed it to the group. That's gonna be first things first. Now it takes a little practice, but if I don't get it right, hopefully you get the idea. The cooldown is 12 seconds, so you'll get your supercharge fast, and you'll be able to pop it back to back. See? So what I did was I popped it. It turned me into the bug. And since I went ahead and put normal form in the same thing, all I did was just L2 triangle twice. And it brought me back to that form. So with that being said, you're able to use that over and over. Because if you don't clip it, you see, you'll be in bug form. And then you have to press it again until you get out. But if you do it properly, let me see if I can do it one more time so y'all can see the demonstration. Whew. Okay, that didn't work as planned. So let's try it one more time. If not, we're gonna keep going. Let's see.
What are you waiting for, huh? What are you waiting for?
Okay, you get the idea. Fail.com. But let me go ahead and show you my loadout. I don't want to make this video too long. So, cross-pollination, metabolism, savage growth, flourish, and blossom. I'm not going to basically read what it says. I'm going to give you my interpretation of it. I'll just skim through it. So it basically says release pheromones. Everyone knows pheromones basically means heals over time. It says release pheromones and endowing allies with healing over time, making them rip or whatever. So growing in strength with every allied heal. My interpretation of that is, say you got 3 people around you, right? It heals all 4 of y'all together. So say you had 3 people around you and they had 3 pets. The more people around you, the more heals that it'll grow. So example, if you know electric and it has galvanized, you know if you use it next to one person, you're not going to get that much heals. The more people you have, the bigger heals you get. Boom. So that's one heal over time. Second heal over time that you can put out is metabolism. It basically says restoring health to yourself and your group members over time. The best way to explain metabolism is, okay, definition metabolism speeds up basically your it speeds up everything basically. That's the best way I can explain it. So if you got 3 pheromones down, you pop metabolism, it's going to speed up all your pheromones that they're going to normally have, and it's going to make it go faster. So if you use cross-pollination and it has 10 ticks, it's going to make it go into 5 ticks. If you use savage growth and it has 20 ticks, it's going to make it go faster into 10 ticks. You understand? So I'll end up showing a video, a clip later on after I explain this so that you can actually see a better idea. So savage growth is basically your bread and butter. Basically that's going to be the strongest HOT that you have. So savage growth is basically your other pheromone that you can put out or whatever the case may be. It also knocks them back. So if you have a whole bunch of ads near you, you can pop it and it will knock them back from you. Now flourish is a little tricky. A lot of people don't understand flourish. I didn't understand flourish because of the way people explain it. So the easy way people explain flourish is this. They say it refreshes all of your pheromones that you put out. So if you put out 2 pheromones, it's going to refresh it when it runs out, and you're going to end up having 2 pheromones that whole time. If you put 3 pheromones out, it's going to refresh it to make it have 3 pheromones all over again. What they don't explain is you can put out 3 pheromones and the numbers will be high, but come to find out when you refresh it, it will give you 3 pheromones, but the amount of heals that you get will not be the same compared that when you first put it out. I'll demonstrate that on the next clip. This is my bread and butter. If you were to old nature, you already know what Blossom was. Blossom was very much your burst heal, but the downfall of Blossom old school was that basically it will take away your pheromones. Now, a lot of people don't use it because it takes a lot of power cost. But if you see, the cooldown is 1.5 seconds. The power cost is 750. Now, like I did in my last video for electric, if you go, the only reason why it's 750 is because I have the Orbital Ryan. And let me give you a better detail. The Orbital Ryan basically is going to make your priority heal hit harder. So for anything to hit harder, it's going to take more power to use. I take the Orbital Ryan off, go back to my loadout, look at the power cost of Blossom now, and look at the cooldown. Now it's 5 seconds and it's 250 power cost. The only good thing, when you read this, it says restoring health to yourself and the most injured group member. So if you're a healer, you're pretty sure that, you know, it's going to only do it for 2 people, you and one other person. The awesome thing about Blossom for nature is it's like the old school. When you look at the power interactions, it also says restores additional health when used on allies with pheromones. So if all your allies have pheromones, it's going to make them go from 0 to 100, depending on how many pheromones you have out. I've tested it. I did 1 pheromone, I did savage growth, and then I used it. It brought me back to 100 from 0. I did 2 of them. It brought me back from 0 to 100. A lot of people don't believe it because, you know, when you think of priority heal, that's just you and one other person. Nature is that OP. Make sure you read power interactions. And it says restores additional health when used on allies with pheromones. Nature is nothing but pheromones. You're always going to have pheromones out. So as long as 8 people, 4 people, 3 people have pheromones on, they're going to get an additional heal, just like in a priority heal. Everyone knows priority heal is going to be your strongest heal. Go to last but not least. If you don't have Gemini at 120, at least, you shouldn't want to use insect form unless you're going for the buff that it has, which is, let me see. It says your healing output, critical healing chance, and critical healing magnitude are increased for a short time. Remember, it's short time, so if you're in bug form all the time, you're not going to get that extra healing all the time. Remember that. So if you don't have Gemini, it will be kind of pointless in my opinion. So I'll use a shield. Or you can use Roar. The only thing about Roar is a lot of people don't like to use it because it takes away your pheromones, and if you're constantly getting hit, then basically your pheromones will be gone. But if you look at the cooldown of it, it's 1.5 seconds. And look at the power cost, people. It doesn't take that much power to use. Prime example. I got Rorian. Look. Look how much power it takes. Barely nothing. Compared to if I'm using another move. You see what I'm saying? It doesn't take no power. So it's good to have, depending on what kind of player you are. If you're quick on your feet as far as clip game, you really shouldn't have an issue with Roar. So the only good thing about it is too, you can do this, Roar, and then go ahead and use Metabolism to speed up all your HOTs that you had out, or to refresh it and then use Roar again, and it should be fine. You'll see what I'm basically talking about in the next clip. So that's the loadout that I choose. Y'all can go ahead and comment, let me know what y'all think. But people think this move Blossom is a waste of time, but to be honest, that is your bread or butter. I am a burst healer, so I don't like the heals over time too much, or I'll say I don't really depend on the heals over time, because I would like to keep them at 100 compared to at 50 and gradually watch their health go up. No, I'm not that type of healer. So if you're not that type of healer, then you can use anything else. You can put a shield there. You can put a supercharge there. But me, trust me, if you like to solo, you will want to use Blossom. Only because it works on however many people have pheromones. Remember that. Look at the cooldown. Look at the power cost. But remember, if you have the Gemini at 120 or 160, the cooldown will go up. And the power cost also will go up. See, mine is at 160. It brought it up to 1.5 seconds, and the power cost is at 750. So if you don't use the supercharge spam, I would honestly take out the Eye of Gemini, and I will replace it with Demon Fang. My Demon Fang is kind of low, only because I don't really have that much problem with power, and this is why. People love to say get your generator mods and just basically get restoration. But I also, besides get restoration, get health and power. But instead of health, I'll go ahead and get power pools. And when you do the math, basically, you can do 1940 times how many generator mods? 4. And that will give you 7,760 extra power added to the power that you already have. That's a lot of power, folks. You don't want to miss out on that. So if you want to be a great healer, make sure you get also generator mods to help out on your restoration, and make sure you get the power. And you'll have the demon fang, dude. You won't have no problems at all. People love to say nature is a power hog. No, it's a power hog because all people do is this: savage growth metabolism, savage growth metabolism, over and over and over. When you don't even have to do that, you can just use Blossom and it'll bring them back to 100. Boom. Go back DPSing. Boom. You don't have to keep spamming over and over, people. Trust me. So now I'm going to go into the next clip, y'all, so then y'all can actually see how the power works. See you there. Alright guys, I'm back. Behind me, as you see, I have some ads that I'm going to actually take damage from, and I'm going to actually show you how each move interaction works. First move I'm going to actually start with is Savage Growth. I have it in L2 Circle. I'm going to show you basically the potency of the heals and how they interact with the other heals. This will actually be my first pheromone. So let me go ahead and grab these ads. Take a little damage. So the first one I'm going to use is Savage Growth. You see how it knocks him back? I got 2,000. So when the numbers go lower, that lets you know that the heal is almost out. The pheromone is almost done with. So now I'm going to use cross-pollination to add a second pheromone. But as you see, like I said, cross-pollination will not heal you a lot unless you have a group of people around you. So now I'm going to add 2 Savage Growth with it. Now I have 2 sets of pheromones out to add. Now this is what metabolism does. I'm going to do Savage Growth and watch how it speeds it up. Look how fast it goes. It basically speeds up the rest of the heals that Savage Growth and cross-pollination has. And they're actually, all the moves are clippable. So I'm going to do Savage Growth, cross-pollination, and then speed all of them up. Look at all those numbers go. So all metabolism does, y'all, is just speeds up the heals that you have. Now Flourish, let me get my health up. So now Flourish is the move that I was telling you that if you have 3 sets of pheromones, Savage Growth, metabolism, and cross-pollination up, it's going to refresh and put all the 3 heal over time out. As you see, it does do all 3 of them out, but look at my numbers, people. It gives you 1 burst move, and then it gives you the 3 pheromones, yes, but look at the potency of the heals. They're not the same numbers. See, watch. Look at that, 3,000, 1,000, 2,000. Now watch what happens when I refresh it. You see that 1 big heal for 6,000? And look at the numbers, 700, 600. Let me actually get some more ads so you can actually get a better demonstration. Because I know y'all probably like, well, you're not taking that much damage, so of course the heals are not going to be as high. Alright, so now I have more ads. So I'm going to put 3 pheromones up and speed it up with metabolism. See how my health is continuing going? Now, I'm going to refresh it. Now, I just refresh it and look at the number. 700, 600. Refresh it again. You get 1 burst. You saw that for 4,000. But look at the numbers. They're not the same. And let me grab another group of ads. Now, if you use it by yourself, it does do 1 burst heal. And it does put out a heal over time. So add 3 more to it. 1, 2, and 3. So now I'm going to refresh it. Let me get some more ads. Now let's go into the move where I was talking about that'll bring you to 100. See that for 27? I can use it by itself. Flourish, I can use it by itself and it'll still bring me up to 100 because that's basically what priority heals does. But as long as you have heals over time, it'll bring up to 8 people. In the next clip that I have actually gameplay of me in a raid, you'll actually see what I'm talking about for the 8 people. Now, last but not least, is the famous roar that people do not like to use. So when you use roar, I have on 3 sets of pheromones right now. It will basically speed up the rest of the pheromones that I have. And look, now I have no pheromones. So now I have to reapply them. And watch, I use roar again. It sped it up. But look, I have no more pheromones. So it's really a good thing because it speeds up your numbers and it leaves a little on you, but then it takes them away. So I can use one roar. Look at my power bar, y'all. It's not taking none. I can just use Savage Growth and roar and it'll take me back to 100. I'm gonna let my health go down a little bit more. Savage Growth, roar. Savage Growth, roar. I'm back at 100. And you can do that. It's the same thing for any of them. I'm going to use Metabolism, roar. Metabolism, roar. And look how much power it takes, y'all. Nothing. So when they say nature is a power whore, this is why. They'll do Savage Growth, Metabolism, over and over. Savage Growth, Metabolism. You see how much power I'm taking now? They're not letting their heals over time stack because they keep spamming. But I can just do... Let me take my pheromones off. I can just do Flourish, roar. Refresh, roar. Savage Growth, roar. Look at that. And look at my power difference. So it's really up to you, basically, if you want to use it or not. But look what it does, though. And you still have a lot of power. And guess what? I don't even have the Demon Fang. So basically, that's just a description of how they use. So again, Savage Growth, Metabolism. Metabolism speeds up my Savage Growth, and look what it does. And that's just with 2 pheromones. So now, again, I'm going to do 3 pheromones. Savage Growth, Cross-Pollination, Metabolism. Now look. It's harder for them to take me down. And if I want to refresh it, use Flourish. I'm going to get a big heal. And as you see, I still have the 3 heals over time. But look at the numbers, y'all. They are not the same. I'm not in the thousands. I'm taking more damage compared to 1, 2, and 3. Look at that. 2,000, 1,000, 2,000. So remember, y'all, I keep repeating myself. When you use Flourish, yes, you get 1 big heal. And you get the 3 heals over time. But look at the numbers, people. 600 compared to 1,000, 2,000. It's a big difference. And last but not least, this is my favorite move, which is the priority heal. I got 2 heals over time on. Boom. I'm at 100. One time. Just one time. And you still keep your heals over time, people. I can just do Savage Growth, and I'm back to 100. The only downfall about that move is it just takes a lot of power. So that's a demonstration, y'all. So you can at least get to know what the powers do. The next